a huge impact on our students and on our parents. We got lots of positive feedback as we were bringing the kids into this digital world with Web 2.0 technologies. I think parents were very comfortable understanding that along that same path, we were talking about responsible use and citizenship, so that there was this education on how you live appropriately in this digital world. So we fast forward to 2010. From a mobile learning standpoint, we've expanded out to 11 campuses. We have about 1,600 mobile devices that are out in our campuses right now. We're at every 5th grade level at those 11 campuses. And I'm going to, at the end of my presentation, when I kind of give you an up-to-date on where we're at, I'm going to circle back around and I'm going to tie in the 5 E's to these 3 initiatives that we're talking about. So the 11 campuses, they're doing incredible things. You know, these mobile phones, mobile learning devices, they don't have cell phone capability or they don't have texting capability. What they do have is they have 24/7 access. So when they're on our campuses, they connect to our public Wi-Fi. It's a filtered public Wi-Fi. When they're away from our campus, they can connect to the Verizon wireless network, the cell phone network, and it's also routed through our filtering system. So the kids have access 24/7 to these Web 2.0 technologies, and it's controlled, filtered access. The phones have camera capability, it has video capability, and so, you know, it's a functioning device that really plays into what the kids are doing in their classroom. The Web 2.0 technologies, we continue to evaluate what we're doing with the specific Web 2.0 technologies. We change some out, we bring some new in. One of the things that we tell our teachers is don't get married to a software, get married to a concept, because that's more important than the individual device. When we talk to parents, it's interesting because our parents are really focused on, okay, this is all great what you're doing now, but what happens when my child moves to 6th grade? Right now, as a 5th grader, they have mobile learning devices. Are they taking the mobile learning devices with them? Or right now, my child has a smartboard in his classroom. Is he going to have a smartboard in his classroom when he goes into the next grade level? And again, if you go back to what I talked about earlier, it's not about technology. It's not about that device. It's about this different way of instructing. And so one of the things that we work with all of our parents and all of our teachers, don't get hooked on the device or the smartboard or the mobile phone. Get hooked on this philosophical change in the way you're teaching. And once we get that embedded into our community, then they're comfortable understanding that, no, my kid doesn't have to have a mobile phone in 6th grade, but they're still going to be learning in this new and inventive way. From a digital citizenship standpoint in 2010, we really focused heavily on the social side of it. The Facebook, the posting of the different things on the social networking sites, the cyberbullying. Because as we're out doing the blogs and we're out doing the wikis, one of the things that we're seeing is kids are now starting to ask more questions about, well, what really is cyberbullying? And so now we're starting this whole education process there. So we're seeing great results. And what we're seeing great results with is with every kind of learner that sits out there. And so when you look at these initiatives and you talk to the teachers, one of the things that they'll tell you is, let's start with the 5 E's, the first thing, the engagement piece. Well, the pencil now is that device, whether it's a smartboard or whether it's a mobile learning device or whether it's a netbook. That device brings them in, starts to get them engaged because it's something that they use all the time. But it can't be the only thing. So you have to bring these software pieces in that engage these kids to start wanting to do their homework in a different way. We use a product in Katy called Edmodo. I don't know if many of you know of that product, but it's very much like Facebook. And so the kids, when they're doing their homework in Edmodo, they have this Facebook-like interface. So they're able to pose questions. They're able to ask questions of their peers. They're able to ask questions of their teacher. And they're doing it in this framework that's very much like Facebook. So it's new. It's not new to them. It's familiar to them. And it's pulling them in to do their homework. So that engagement piece, we have it from the device level. We have it from the software level. So we start to bring them in. When you move to the next of the 5 E's, the exploration part of this, what we're doing is we're tapping into creativity. But the teachers will tell you, when you start incorporating in Web 2.0 technologies and you start incorporating in these different devices, the creativity of the homework that these kids are doing is amazing. The higher level of thinking. It's like, they said, you know, it's like the kids are almost doing the homework for extra credit, but we're not offering extra credit. That it's just a way for these kids to do something on a device or a Web 2.0 technology that they never would have done with a paper and pencil. And by tapping into these different ways of engaging kids, the creativity comes out. Now they can do videos. Now they can do podcasts. They can do video casts. You know, now they can play games during math and science and actually learn the lesson and play the game. So the exploration comes in just by tapping into that creativity of this new way of learning. Explaining and elaborating, I kind of put together, because really what you're talking about there is you're talking about this collaboration. And what these tools do is they really facilitate this collaborative environment. Whether you team students together or whether you create a blog or you create a wiki, you give the opportunity for the kids to explain a theory or an answer. You give the kids a chance to ask questions of their peers, and in asking those questions of their peers, then they get a chance to elaborate. Let me explain further about what we're doing. And this is what we're seeing when these kids are working together. I'm going to give you an example of a 5th grade class. We had 2 5th grade science classrooms put together. And what they've done is they teamed the kids into groups of 4. And their project was this. You have a planet. And on this planet, you have to decide the climate, the food, the clothes you're going to wear, and what fun things you're going to do on this planet. And then you come up with a marketing plan to get somebody to come visit your planet. So I walked into this 5th grade class that tons of noise going on. But when you walked up to these groups of 4, the conversation was about the topic that they were working on. And they were using their mobile learning devices, they were sharing the data between the two, they were on the Web 2.0 technologies, posting what their planet was about, creating their marketing strategy, and it was this collaborative environment that lots of noise, lots of action, but it was focused on the topic at hand. When you think about this explain and elaborate, blogs and wikis, that's what that facilitates. Giving your kids an opportunity to explain what they're doing, why they're doing it, and then they can also elaborate because they can be challenged by their peers. They can ask questions. The one thing that we've seen throughout this whole process too is it changes the dynamics of the classroom. It puts the teacher more into facilitator mode. Because these Web 2.0 technologies and these other devices like the mobile learning devices, what it's done is it's brought kids out of their shell. And the teachers will tell you that kids who normally sat in the back of the class and didn't participate, now they're in front of the classroom showing the class, here's what I figured out how to do. Or look at how I can do this in Web 2.0, or how I can do this on the mobile learning device. And so it changes that dynamic. It changes the dynamic because very quickly the kids know way more about this type of stuff than the teachers. And so it puts the teacher more into this facilitative role, which is what we all are trying to strive for in this classroom dynamic. So now you have this very interactive, this very back and forth kind of communication going on, and that's even at the elementary level. You know, and then you look at the evaluation process, and these tools are perfect for evaluation. You can put posing questions. You can do surveys. You can do quick little assessments. You can do games. Smart boards and mobile learning devices are great things for games where you can get a quick evaluation on just the content. And you can set up these evaluations based on the diversities of the learning styles in your class. So they don't all have to be the same. And I think that's the power that these tools bring in, is that it allows these styles of learning to really be applied per student, because there's so many different avenues to solve the problem. And that's what we're seeing this year. You know, if I fast forward to next year, one of the things we're most excited about is we're going to have public Wi-Fi at every one of our campuses, which means kids can bring their own device. Now this public Wi-Fi will be filtered just like our internal network, but now we're going to have kids bringing their own devices from home. And what we're telling parents is this is a way to leverage that personal investment you've made in technology, now bringing it into the classroom. So we're not telling the kids to power down. You know, I heard the analogy about 7 or 8 months ago where Education is a lot like the airline industry, in that we go into an airline, we sit down, we strap in, and the first thing they tell us is to power off all electronic equipment. And that's a lot like education. And in Katy, that's one of the things that we want to change. Next year, we're not telling the kids to power down. We're telling them to bring their own device into school. When we talk to teachers about Web 2.0 technology, one of their single highest complaint is we don't have enough devices in the classroom. This is the answer to that. I think most of the secondary kids out there, all of them have some type of mobile device that can connect to the internet. Whether it's a cell phone, a netbook, a laptop, there's some device that sits out there. At the secondary level, at the high school, we are going to have the policy in place that the kids can use their device in the classroom at the direction of the teacher, and that when they're in the passing periods or at lunch, they can use the phone, they can text, they can do whatever they want. At the junior high and elementary level, the teacher will direct when they use the devices, but that the kids can't use it in the passing periods or at lunch. Elementary teachers kind of freaked out. They said, we have a hard enough time keeping first graders in line, let alone keeping first graders in line that are trying to text. So the junior high level was a little closer, so I think that we could see a modification there at the junior high. So that's kind of what we're looking at for next year. If you think about the process that we've gone through to get to the point where we're having public Wi-Fi, our teachers aren't nervous because they've been doing the things in the classroom for 2 years with Web 2.0 technology, and they're just going to continue that next year. And the kids bringing their own device is just another way for them to use what they've already been doing in the classroom. So we're not seeing a lot of angst from our teachers. We're seeing incredible excitement from our students. We're seeing excitement from our parents as well, because now they understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. When you tie back the whole topic of this, the 5 E's, everything that I just walked through, these 3 things that Katy has kind of focused on for this philosophical change is exactly what the 5 E's are talking about, and it's exactly what we are expecting. We're seeing incredible results. The diversity of learners, by incorporating these things into this classroom and making it a philosophical commitment from your school board down to your classroom teacher, you're seeing these things happening, and you're seeing the avenues for learning and the flexibility for those avenues. It just taps a resource that we've never seen before, and we're so excited about it. So I talked very quickly kind of about what Katy has done, our philosophical approach and what we've seen. Certainly this isn't the only way to do it. I think we've been very successful, and I think we've tapped into a progression that our teachers have been able to accept as far as the speed, our students, and our parents. So we have this very collective, collaborative environment that is comfortable with what we're doing in the classroom and what we're going to do in the classroom. So I have about 5 minutes left, I think, in my allotted time. So what I'd like to do is, if there's any questions out there, we can open it up to answer questions, or I can talk more about specific results. I'll leave the last 5 minutes kind of up to you guys.